All right, guys, wanted to give you a quick rundown. We have got an LG refrigerator. It's one of the ones with the very typical LG linear inverter compressor. One of these that was part of the class action lawsuit. Essentially what you've got is you've got a compressor that just craps out, kind of gets the system dirty and loses compression. And the solution is roll your fridge down a steep hill. Now, if LG comes out to swap out the compressor, you might get 12, 18 months out of it. If you're lucky, it's going to go bad again too. From what I read, my research said that there was a powder coating on the internal pieces here that wears down and floods the system. And there's also a thing about the pistons being upper instead of lower and they wear out. I've seen and read all kinds of stuff, but the gist of it is these are crap, and it runs from 0 to 240 volts. So typically you just can't take a standard regular compressor and wire it in. However, I can, and I'm going to show you how. So this right here will run between 115 and 127 volts, so it's a little bit beefier compressor. I pulled this out of a big-ass Whirlpool fridge that had all kinds of problems. I think it was a leak I couldn't trace down. So I saved the compressor. There's nothing wrong with it. And I'm going to show you how this is wired up. I've just got it plugged in now. Obviously, I haven't done that part of this repair yet. And that's not what this video is about. This video is not about doing that. If you don't know how to do that, don't even attempt to do this. But this is the wiring portion. So how do you get the wiring set up for it? So just kind of give you a rundown here. First thing you want to check, just to make sure you're not wasting your time, is this type of fridge, this type of repair has to be done on a 3-wire condenser fan setup. So it has to have this 3-wire plug here. Take a look. Purple, red, and black. Now it can't come out to 4 wires and go down to 3. That also does not count. It has to be 3-wire. And if you happen to have your wiring diagram on the back of the fridge, you can find, let me see if I can get it to focus here. Oh, there we go. The C fan motor has to have just 3 contacts. If it has 4, it's not going to work. Okay, because a 4-wire gets a constant 12-volt signal with something completely separate telling the fan to turn on, turn off. And what you need is you need a 12-volt signal that from the board clicks down and tells the fan to turn on. So power on, power off. And that's what the 3-wire is going to give you. And so what we're doing is we are essentially tapping into the circuit that condenser fan runs, because it runs when the compressor runs. When the compressor's off, it's off. It follows the exact same schedule. There's never a time when your compressor shuts off and the condenser fan keeps running. They're on the same circuit. Okay, so what we're essentially doing is using the condenser fan as your on-off switch for the compressor. And it only works with the 3-wire setup, because the 4-wire setup, it's got a constant 12-volt signal, so it won't work. You can't tap into it like this anyway. I have not figured that out. I have plenty of those 4-wire fridges just sitting around, maybe waiting for a solution one day. It's going to take somebody smarter than me to figure that one out. But anyway, so here's what we do. We trace down those wires, and they happen to be here. If you're probably not going to be able to see it, I'm probably going to be able to focus on it. But back in here, let's see if I can get in on that. Nah, I don't think you'll be able to see it, but that's where you can see where it says C fan, and it's these first 3 right here. These first 3 wires, gray, purple, and then white with a red stripe. They're all kind of mashed up in here. Oh, not even on it. Okay, it's these 3 here. You have gray, purple, white with a red stripe. And what you need, call it pink. We'll call it pink. You need the pink and the white with a red stripe. This gray one goes to the accessory wire down on the fan. You do not want to run power through that or mess with that at all, okay? So it's these first two. What you're gonna do is you're gonna tap into them, and those two wires have to come out and go into your relay. Okay, they go into your relay, your 12-volt relay, and I'll put a picture up on that of what exactly relay. They're cheap, you can get them on eBay or Amazon, but it goes into your relay, and this is your on-off switch now. Okay, so when you get a 12-volt signal, it opens this or closes this and allows power to flow through here, 120 up to 125 volts. But what we've done then is you come down to, so here's your power cord, right? Power cord. And so here's the neutral, and here's your lines, your power and neutral. And we're gonna tap into the neutral, and then you gotta also tap into this goes down to the wiring on the compressor. Okay, so right here on this plug, you've got two wires that come out and go to this plug. I've taped it over. Two wires come out and go to that, and two wires go down to the compressor, okay, which come out down here, and I'll get to that in just a second. But it's the gray and the black wire right there. That's right there. So it's these two wires right here. And so we tapped into the neutral here, and then we tapped the black. We just put it on to there's your power wire, goes to your power wire, neutral to your neutral. Okay, neutral, power. And so what happens is these two wires come out down here, and you can see black and red. Okay, the red wire is your power wire. It's black up here. Comes out red down there. Okay, and this gray one comes out black down here. And all you really need to know down here is that the red power goes on top, black goes on bottom when you get this set up here. Pretty easy. And what I've done, I just chopped off what was originally there and just put a couple ends on to a couple of female ends to reach in and grab to the male ends. Okay, I'm super tired, guys, sorry. I work overnight doing this, and I thought I'd shoot this because you know, there's a few videos out there. There's one that's from a long time ago, and the dude never did a follow-up video on it. I heard the guy died. I don't know. I hope not, but I thought I would hopefully make this a little bit more clear and just kind of give you a walkthrough. So step one, what I do is I get this ready. I solder this all up. You got two in. There's a center post in the middle that I just clip off. I'll grab a fresh one of these and show you. But you got in and out. So I make this piece. Okay, you need 4 wires. 2 tap in up here where I showed you. And then come down here, cut these off, pull them off, and then the gray one is gonna go into your relay. And then the other part of that relay wire is gonna go into your neutral here. Okay, this is your neutral wire. And then the black wire from over here just goes and piggybacks off your black. So what you're doing is you're sending power down to the compressor, okay? You're just literally tapping into the power plug and sending it down to the compressor with an interruption in the neutral, your on-off switch. That's how this works. Okay, then we come down here, and then like I said, so up top, this is your black up top. It's your hot wire, your power wire, it's gonna go on top. And then this is gray, your neutral, it's black on the bottom. So it comes and it goes in the bottom. It's your on-off switch wire. All right, so here's what happens. We're gonna plug this in, and it's gonna start doing its thing. It's gonna start to turn on, and we're gonna watch. Now, when that fan kicks on, this will kick on. And if you were to sit there and watch it the whole time, eventually, which it won't because it would never cool down, but eventually that would turn off during a defrost cycle, or when it gets to temperature, that would turn off, and then your compressor would turn off. Okay, that's how it's supposed to work. All right, so we're gonna plug this in, and I'll show you how it works. Try to do this without chucking myself. plugged in. See that fan there? Fan kicks on, compressor kicks on. So if this were all hooked up and charged, you'd be rocking and rolling. Now I have one of these fridges that I did on a side-by-side. This is a French door. I did a side-by-side 5 years ago, and it's still rolling perfect. So I have absolutely no hesitation doing this. Took me a while to figure out that 4-wire trick with the condenser fan and why that didn't work the way it was supposed to. The other thing that's super important to note on your connections up here, make sure you solder them, crimp them, secure them. You have to make sure that they are secure. I've got that taped and then used a silicone tape that seals it up. Okay, absolutely not going to pull apart. You just have to make sure everything is stitched up, secure, not going to come apart. You don't want to use those cheap tie-ins to just punch into the wire. Those don't work. It's especially up here. These are so tiny. These little wires are so tiny that those little things you clip in and you plug into it, those are junk. They don't work on these tiny wires. Okay, I've tried all of that. My original idea was plug this system in, and if somebody wanted to replace the compressor with an LG1, they could just unplug what I did. It ended up causing so many problems. You have to just do it the correct way, solder it, seal it, and you will get a system that's going to last you a very long time and do a very good job. Unplug this now. So step 2 for me now is just simply swapping out the compressor, recharging it, and be good to go. All right, I thought I'd add one more thing, my own personal note here that I did before I wired everything up. Okay, and so you could pause and just take a look at that, but essentially it says the red and white wire using a multimeter all the way down to the C-fan plug. I unplugged it, and you can use a multimeter and verify this, as well as using the wiring diagram. But your red and white multimeter will confirm continuity down to the black wire. Okay, and then your, call it a pink wire up here, pink down to the purple. Or excuse me, no. The pink goes over to the red. Okay, and then the gray goes over here to the purple. And my coloring doesn't really make sense, but so I just put a note. The red and white wire goes down to black, which is what you want. You'd tap that. The pink goes down to red because you're looking to tap the red and black. That's your power wires to the fan. The purple is an accessory wire, so you do not tap that one, okay? These are the 2 wires that you're gonna tap here. And if you use your multimeter, you can verify this before you go cutting into things, because that's what you have to have. Find your red and your black wire that go into your fan. That's your power wires. Those are the 2 wires you're tapping into. For your relay, that's going to be your on-off switch for your 115 volts down to your compressor. That's what this is all about, okay? Tap into the white, red wire and pink wire for C-fan power. Okay, then we come down here. Now this is what that plug right here looked like before I chopped it off. It looked like that, and it had the brown and the orange. You can see that goes to this capacitor here, and then the black, if you use your multimeter and traced it down to the wires that go to the compressor, black traces over to red and gray traces over to black. So you just chop that off, and you could just leave it off if you wanted to. I covered it and stick it back on there. But yeah, I don't think it matters. You could probably just leave it off of there. But anyway, so what you want is you want the black to be your power down to the red, which goes on the top of your plug on your compressor. Covered that already. Here's your neutral, and it is going into the bottom. Of course, you put your relay then on your neutral side. Your on-off switch goes on the neutral side, power goes straight down. Red goes to black, black goes to gray. So that's what that looks like before it gets chopped up. I'll pause and just kind of look at that. I know this was something I had to go over and over and over again. That's why I have these notes, because it's also sometimes it's 6 months before I do another one of these and you kind of forget stuff. But yeah, anyway, I just wanted to throw that in there. All right, last thing here. This is the relay. So this is your inside. And I chopped this one off here. I cut this one in the middle out. Okay, this is where these wires up top here are gonna go in on the small side. The ones that come out and go down are on the fatter side, the wider side. Okay, so you have 5 prongs. You're not gonna use this one. I chopped that off. I solder my wires on. I use my grinder then to take these points down so it's all nice and flat. I even sometimes cover it with resin and harden the resin. Then I wrap this thing real good. So what I don't want is I don't want these pokey things push through my tape and touch something. No, so I super secure this once it's all in there and good. But your 12 volts is going to go in this side. 12 volt DC goes in this side, and it's your on-off switch for your 115 volts. So, but this thing's rated for 12 volt DC to 125 volt AC, and it's a 15 amp. And you can get these, I think, in up to 30 amp is what I used to get, but 15 amp is fine. You pretty much see all the numbers on there you need to see. I bought this in like a 10 pack on eBay, and these work great. Haven't had any problems with these at all. So, yep, that's what that is. This is the other little piece that you need, your on-off switch for the compressor. All right, last thing I'm gonna say about this before I wrap it up. The hardest part for me, not really knowing what I was doing with all that starting out, the wiring diagram. The hardest part for me was figuring out which one of these wires to tap into. Okay, I didn't know for sure, and I'd end up tapping the gray one and the ground one or the accessory wire and blowing things up, and I screwed a lot of stuff up. Luckily, you get a lot of these fridges for free, so I had a lot of practice. But the surefire way, if you don't know how to read this and don't understand what all that means yet, the surefire way is to take your multimeter and you trace your wires. So you could get pretty close by looking in here and seeing which one says C-fin. It'll get you kind of in the neighborhood. Okay, it's these 3 wires here, but which one's which? And you come up here and you're like, okay, I see that there's 3 wires here, but I still don't know which one's which. I'm not sure what all this stuff means here. Even though these numbers here correspond with your pins, you're still, oh, it's not focused here. These numbers do correspond with your pins, but if you're not familiar with it, so what you do is just grab your multimeter, and you're going to, you might have to get the tips. Here, let me show you. Multimeter, tips that are super sharp. And then what you can do is you can plug in up here. So it's these 3. You need to know which one is which. There's 3 here. Okay, there's 3 down here. And you're gonna test, obviously not on the wires to the fan. You're gonna either pull that plug out or just shove your little skinny tip up in there, and then you're gonna trace those wires. And if you do that, what you'll find is you'll find the gray goes to the pink or purple, whatever you call it, down below. The pink up here goes to I think it's the red down there, and then the white and red go to the black. Or I don't know which one it was exactly. See, I forget stuff. That's why I make notes. But it's these 2 will trace to the power wires down on your fan. You got to tap into the red and the black on your fan, and don't touch the other one. And you'll find that by tracing it. And you just plug in up here, and then when you start touching things down there, you're going to figure out which one's which, and you can mark it. You can get little pieces of electrical tape, red and black, and just mark the ones that you need, and that's how you'll know which ones to tap into. That was the hardest part for me, not having any clue what I was doing for the longest time until I learned how to read these wiring diagrams and kind of actually know more what you're looking for. So hopefully that tip helps you out if you're maybe just going to try to fix your own fridge. You know, you're obviously not going to learn how to do all that if you're just fixing your own fridge, but anyway, hope that helps.